watch. And we get fired after being in a WrestleMania main event. And I'm like, Carl's pissed off. I've been through this before. I go, how do we not parody this? We got to spoof it. That's the way that that's the reaction. We got to make fun of everything that they've been doing. And then I came up with Talking Shop, and we put it on pay-per-view, and it was a hit, and now it's a thing. So it was a weird, blessing for wrestling in a lot of ways.
Before you, I know we kind of went past a little bit of the WWE stuff, but I wanted to ask you, how was it for you guys just being able to be around AJ Styles and Finn Balor in WWE? And also, was there ever a point where conversation was brought up to maybe start the Bullet Club with you four guys there? I know they did the OC with you and Styles and Anderson, but was there ever that, a conversation with Vince or whatever that, hey, maybe this could be something that we could possibly try to do or whatever?
Not to my knowledge. We always thought they should have done it, and they should have done it like right away when we came in 16. And then the further you got away from it, it just, they put us with Finn for a little bit on Raw, but we weren't on any show with him very much at all, other than that couple months on Raw. I mean, because he was there. I think we were on SmackDown at one point. Then he was back in NXT. We were with AJ a lot. We did the club with AJ, and then when they split the club up, when they split the club up, they didn't tell AJ or us, so he was really pissed off. And we went to the other show, and then. The OC thing, I feel like the reason they did the OC was because we were going to leave and go to AEW. Our contracts were up in September of 2019. It was no secret we were buddies over there. We had a very nice offer to go over there. And then they were trying to keep us and make us happy, and AJ wanted us to stay because he wanted to keep his buddies around, I mean, we were boys. We're both Atlanta guys. We hang out together, whatever. So he wanted us to stay together. And I think that was part of, not only the – money they kept upping to get us to stay, but I think having that creative and putting the OC together was they thought that would make us happy and be a reason to keep us around. And then ultimately you saw how that worked out. So
unfortunately, yeah. Well, okay. So one more thing. So
it was very fortunate, actually. It was just weird.
It was fortunate, but unfortunate. It was like you got your money, but it was like after a while, it was like, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and let you go. I was like, well, you could have did that anyway, but
you walk when I asked to.
For you and Karl Anderson, what is it about you guys as a dynamic, as a tag team, that makes you guys special and work so well together? Especially, and also, what was your first time that you actually met Karl and decided that this is the guy you want to be a tag team partner with?
So we knew each other, but we weren't like big buddies or anything. Like, had exchanged pleasantries, I guess you would say, seen each other in passing, but never had any real conversations or anything. We started texting a little bit when I was in TNA and he was in Japan because he was watching the show, and he would ask me, we knew that right out of the gate we could make each other laugh. So he would ask me shit to pop me, and I would, answer him back. That was the extent of our relationship. Well, TNA had me for a year, and then they had a year option with a raise. And for whatever reason, they were having some financial issues at the time or whatever. And they were like, hey, we're going to use your option year. We're going to keep you, but there's no raise. And I was like, that's not how contracts work. Like, you have to give me the raise that's written in there. And I was dealing with Bob Ryder. I wasn't even dealing with anybody in TR. And we just lost Bob last week, so God rest his soul. But Bob was just basically like, well, there's no more money, so if that's not acceptable, then we're going to have to let you go. I go, you guys just said you're going to re-up me for another year, not give me a raise, and then when I say that I'm not doing it without the raise, you're going to let me go? So I got a kind of a bad taste in my mouth about that because they said they released me, but that wasn't the case. I was like, well, I'm not staying if there's no raise.
Right.
We parted, and that would have been like in, I don't know, July of 13 or something. And I just hit up Karl, and I was like, do you think there's anything over there? And at the time, I'd become friendly with Scott D'Amore, ironically. And he was helping Magnus do his Impact deal at the time. And they were wanting to keep him. He just had like a title run and stuff. And I was like, man, I want to get into New Japan. I don't know how hard it is to get in over there. I've never worked for New Japan. So Scott reached out to Tiger Hattori, and then at the same time, so did Karl, like, hey, is there anything for this guy? And he literally showed Hattori like a clip of me getting some steam on somebody in TNA. And he's like, oh, yeah, good worker. Maybe we bring him in. But the funny part I didn't find out till later was Karl was in line to get this big singles push. So then they brought me over. They're like, oh, looks the same, maybe tag team. And he's like, oh, fuck this guy. I don't want to be a tag team.